Hello, everyone. It's your favorite president, Donald J. Trump. People have been telling me that my buddy Andrew at Don't Walk Run has been making some excellent videos about Comrade Kamala. He's doing a great job helping me make America and YouTube great again. So without further ado, let's jump right in. He's starting off with Sleepy Joe mumbling and bumbling like always. Nothing new here.
Power line workers have come from around the country, from Canada.
So Canada is now part of our country?
According to Joe Biden, 12% of the U.S. population is a power line worker, and Canada is now part of the United States.
That's what I just said. Looks like Andrew and I are on the same page. Kamala Harris, Hurricane Czar. That's funny. I like that.
This is Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States and the Democrat
Pretty soon the VP will be J.D. Vance.
On October 7th, 2024, NBC News released the following exclusive report. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is not taking
I know
calls
Ron
from
very
Vice
well, and he
President
doesn't
Kamala
take calls
Harris
from
about
anyone.
storm
She shouldn't
recovery
take it personally. He
just over
never
a week
answers
after
my calls
Hurricane
either.
Helene hammered parts of his state. So during a press briefing regarding
There he
Hurricane
is. He's got a
Milton,
bright
the
future in
second
politics. His
hurricane
only
Florida
mistake
would
was
have
trying to
deal
take
with
me in
as
for the
many weeks.
presidency.
Governor DeSantis was asked if he was refusing Kamala Harris's calls.
I didn't know that she had called, so
Just
I'm not
look
sure
at the
who they
caller
called that
ID.
didn't call me, and their characterization of it was something that they did. It wasn't anything that anybody in my office.
Why is he
did.
babbling? A
Saying it
simple
was
no would
political.
suffice.
So DeSantis was like, I don't know. And that could have and should have been the end of it. But Kamala
Andrew
Harris
is
and her
100%
campaign
correct
are so
here.
desperate that they decided to pick a fight with the best governor in the republic.
And here she is, surprised she isn't cackling already. She looks so lost and confused without her script in front of her.
You know, moments of crisis, if nothing else.
If her lips are moving, then she's lying.
That anyone who calls themselves a leader says they're going to put politics
She
aside,
thinks she's a leader.
put the people first.
That's rich.
This is so dishonest. Everyone knows that when it comes to preparing for tropical storms and hurricanes, DeSantis is the GOAT.
We've been
Yes, Ron is the
laser-focused
GOAT,
on
and
leveraging
cackling
all
Kamala is
resources
just a
available,
GOAT.
including from the federal government. And I've been in touch with both FEMA and the president, as well as marshaling all our state
Poor Ron,
agencies and
having to
working
talk with
to
FEMA and
support our
Sleepy
local
Joe.
communities. And so for Kamala Harris,
Come on,
to
Ron,
try to
call her
say that
Comrade
my
Kamala.
sole focus on the people of Florida is somehow selfish is delusional.
And
What's
yes,
delusional is this
Kamala
bimbo
making
thinks
the
she can
assertion
beat me.
That by DeSantis not taking her call, that he's putting people in danger.
People are in desperate
She should
need
just
for
stop
right now.
talking.
And
At least that's what Willie Brown
this
said.
moment in these crisis situations, these are the height of emergency situations.
An emergency situation is you being a heartbeat away from the Oval Office.
And it is about political gamesmanship instead of doing the job that you took an oath to do, which is to
Blah,
put
blah,
the
blah.
people
Just
first.
waiting for the part
Says
where
the
she
selfish
blames me.
woman playing political games in the middle of a crisis.
I saw the news report. I didn't know she tried to contact me.
I'm
But I'd
telling
also
you,
say
Ron,
it's not
get
about
caller
you,
ID.
Kamala. It's about the people of Florida.
And then Governor DeSantis revealed that when it comes to weather-related issues in Florida, that Kamala Harris's past involvement has been non-existent.
She has
Kamala
never
always
called
disappears
on
during
any
a
of the
crisis.
storms
I mean,
we've
look at
had
the
since
border.
She's been vice president until apparently now. Why all of a sudden is she trying to parachute in and inject herself when she's never shown
Because
any
she thinks
interest in
she's
the
important,
past?
but in
We know it's
reality,
because
she's just
of
Obama's
politics.
lapdog.
We know it's because of her campaign.
Oh, come
I
on,
have
Donald, that's not
zero
true.
time,
I can't stand her either.
to entertain these political games.
And that's how you flip a false narrative. Damn, he's good.
Now,
Damn
he said
right,
this
Andrew,
morning,
you are killing
you've
it.
never called regarding any of the storms Florida has had since you've been vice president until apparently now, and called it.
Look at how lost and
What's your
confused
response
she
to that?
is. He makes Beijing Biden look
First of all,
coherent.
I have called and talked with in the
Is this
course
where
of
she
this
tells
crisis,
everyone
this
she
most
grew up a
recent
middle-class
crisis,
kid?
Democrat and Republican governors.
Notice that she didn't even refute the fact that she's never called DeSantis about hurricanes.
I called
Good
the
point,
governor
Andrew. Isn't she the hurricane czar?
about what Florida has received in terms of impact. We have to have an agreement that at some point
Most of us are
we
in
all need to
agreement
work
that you are
together
unfit to be
to
manager of
combine
Taco Bell,
resources,
let
especially
alone the
federal, state,
president.
and local resources around these kinds of disasters. And I think it's
You're a
a shame
disaster.
That, that hasn't happened, but
So let me say this. The
Get her,
overall
Andrew.
federal response to Hurricane Helene was, and continues to be, well, let's just say lacking.
Just like her
Maybe she should be
personality.
concentrating more on the response in North Carolina and stop whining about DeSantis not taking her fucking phone call. And
Andrew is
spoiler
swearing
alert,
now. Great job,
she won't.
Kamala.
Is something we have to say, look, at some point, we have to work together. And I'll tell you, there are plenty of leaders who are working in a bipartisan way. I've talked to governors of both parties. Who are
Were they
working in a
real people or
bipartisan way
imaginary?
to get the aid to people on the ground. And I'm going to continue to do
Colbert
that.
is terrible. He's such a Democrat shill.
Correct. They are. They are. They are.
Listen to the
They
lemmings
should be
clap.
commended. They should be commended.
And Florida man bad should be condemned because he doesn't respect a black woman vice president.
Is she black?
And notice that
I
she
didn't
keeps
know.
using the term working in a bipartisan way. When it comes to natural disasters,
Kamala is a
coordination
natural
between state
disaster.
and federal government is supposed to be nonpartisan and not political.
I've had storms under both President Trump and President Biden. And
I
I've
remember.
worked well with both
But
of
the
them.
zombie
She's
in
the
chief
first
probably
one
doesn't, and it was
who's
literally
trying
last
to
week.
politicize the storm, and she's doing that just because of her campaign.
Exactly.
No need to worry
But
about that.
not
Her
only
campaign is
Kamala Harris going
DOA.
after DeSantis politically, but she's also trying to attack his character, saying that he doesn't care about Floridians.
If Ron DeSantis doesn't care about Floridians, then Joe Biden won the 2020 election.
The suffering of other people. Have you no sense of purpose?
I see that Kamala
My purpose is to keep
finally
unhinged
attempting
women like
to embrace
Hillary
her
and you
Jamaican
from ever
roots.
sniffing the
It's
Oval
about
Office.
time.
If you purport to be a leader, to understand that being a leader
My
means
God, does she
lifting
ever
people
make
up in a
sense?
time of need.
So Kamala claims that being a leader means lifting people up in a time of need. But on the other
Being
hand,
a leader
she's
is making the
attempting to
tough
tear down
decisions
a
that need to be
Republican
made
governor
and not laughing
dealing
like a
with
hyena when
back-to-back
asked softball
hurricanes,
questions.
all because she considers him a threat to her campaign. Sad, really. So
Yes,
while
very.
Kamala Harris was accusing Governor DeSantis of playing politics, her boss Joe Biden had nothing but praise for Florida man.
Oh, wow, Biden actually
Has
agreed.
been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's being all
Look at that.
well.
Mumbles
Thank you
actually
for
make
it.
sense and praise
And I
Governor
literally gave my
DeSantis.
personal
Kamala
phone
should take notes.
Allow me to reiterate what Biden said to Governor DeSantis.
Yes, please.
You're
We need a
doing
coherent
great job.
translation.
It's all being done well. We thank you for it.
Mr. President, does Governor DeSantis need
Why
to
does he
thank
look like
Vice
he's shitting
President,
his pants?
Harris
Maybe he
as well?
sees the Grim Reaper coming for him.
All I can tell you is I'm talking to Governor DeSantis. He's been very gracious. He's thanked me.
Look
for
at
all
how he
he's done.
speaks now that
knows
he
what
has
he's
that
doing.
soul-sucking leech
And,
Kamala off of
I
him.
think that's important.
I'll bet $1 billion
Question
Joe
was,
Biden
does
votes for
DeSantis
me.
need to take Kamala's calls? And Biden's answer was essentially no. In
Her
other
own
words,
husband probably
Biden
doesn't take her
totally threw
calls
Kamala
either.
under
He's
the
too
bus.
busy slapping
Nah,
his
he's not bitter
ex-girlfriends
at
and
all.
knocking up nannies.
And here's the thing. DeSantis is smart enough to know that Kamala Harris brings nothing to the table.
Just
My
like
job is to
AOC.
marshal resources and work with everybody to have an effective response. And she thinks it should be about her. If I honestly thought that there was something to be gained, I would pick up the phone and call her.
Don't call her
And the
Ron,
fact
not
is,
unless you
he's
want to
right.
be spoken to
For
like
example,
a child.
Watch Kamala Harris, the self-appointed hurricane czar.
Watch her make a
and
fool
her
of
biggest
herself. She isn't the
contribution
hurricane
to a
czar.
briefing
Her
on
campaign is a
preparing
hurricane,
for
and she is the
Hurricane
czar of that mess.
Administrator Criswell, yes,
Who
ma'am.
is this broad?
Are we concerned about any misinformation or disinformation regarding
Everything that comes out of your
evacuations
pie
that we
hole
need to
is
clear up?
misinformation and
this point?
disinformation.
There's been a lot
Look
of
at that.
misinformation
Breaking
out there,
news.
Madam Vice President. That's
Can
for
we
sure.
clear that
But
X
I have not
notification,
heard anything
please?
specific to the
Thank you.
evacuations.
Gee, I just don't understand why Governor DeSantis won't talk to her.
She has
Because
no
she's
role
an
in this
idiot, that's
process.
why.
And so I'm working with the people I need to be working with.
Like
We're
myself and
leveraging the
Elon.
resources I need to be leveraging. And for her to try to say that my focus should be on catering to her rather than worrying about my own people just shows she doesn't understand what it means to respond to these natural disasters.
And for proof of
Ron
that,
DeSantis
here's
is
Kamala
an
Harris
absolute savage.
participating in a Univision town hall the day after Hurricane Milton passed through Central Florida, where she was asked, what would a Harris administration do to prepare for hurricanes differently?
I can tell you she will laugh and cackle before telling us she grew up as a middle-class kid and then blame it all on
to
me.
respond to the last hurricane. what would you specifically do, or your administration
Look
do
at her.
to
She
help
doesn't know what
us
is going on.
in the Tampa Bay area or the Central Florida area?
Staring
with this
off all
hurricane?
confused while this
What would your
fine gentleman
administration
answers
do
her
in
a
the case of
serious question.
Well, first of all, thank you for the question, and I hope your family is okay and your home is okay.
Okay. 2 new Kamala Harris accents in 2 days might be a record.
I heard that also.
And I
How
have to
many
stress
accents does she
that
have?
this is not a time for people to play politics.
Yet here
You
she
know,
is
I
playing
started my career
politics.
as a prosecutor.
Does that mean she's going to sign an arrest warrant for the hurricane?
I
Oh,
never
good
asked
idea.
a
Lock up the
witness or
hurricane along
victim
with
of
all the
crime,
black
"Are
men
you
she
a
put away and
Republican?
now
Are
begs
you
for
a
their
Democrat?"
votes.
The only
What a
question
train
I
wreck
ever
she
ask
is.
Are you okay?
So she's going to ask people if they're okay. Yeah, that'll help. She never answered the question, by the way. She just went on.
She
another
never
one of
answers
her
questions. All
infamous
she
word
does is tell us
salads
she
for
grew
2
up
minutes.
middle class
I
and
know
she was
you're
a
shocked.
prosecutor. A
Anyway,
terrible
that's
one,
it
by
for
the
now.
way,
Thanks for watching.
and blames
Hope to see you
everything
next
on me
time.
instead of Beijing
Cheers next
Biden.
time.
Anyone?
I like that. Andrew is funny and knows his shit. Maybe I'll react to some more videos by him. Make sure you check out Don't Walk, Run on YouTube and X, and also don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Together we will make YouTube great again.